So, stage seven fractions work. We are making equivalent fractions in order to add and subtract. So we've got fractions that aren't the same, don't have the same denominator, and we can't just add them across. 3/4 and 3/8 don't just add together. They're apples and bananas. They're not the same thing. And you can see when we've got our picture, if I just said, oh, I've got 6 and 12, or you'll end up with 6 12, so you'll have half. Well, that doesn't make any sense. You've already got more than half. So it's not as simple as just adding these two numbers together, because that will give you something. Somehow we've got less than we started with, so that doesn't work. When we do this, what we've got to do is make a common denominator, and that's a phrase that gets used a lot. Common denominator, so they have equivalent fractions. So in order to do that, I can either halve this one, but because there's a 3, I don't really want to halve that. And here I've got 4, much easier to double it. But if I double the number of cuts, then what I have done is I've also doubled the total number of pieces. So I've taken each piece and cut it in half. And so now I don't have 3 pieces. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Lo and behold, I have double what I started with. Remembering that I had 3/4, I've just doubled 4, doubled 2. And that's given me now something I can actually add together. So in this case, I've got 6/8 plus 3/8 is going to give me 9/8. I could count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that's pretty much how you add or subtract two fractions that have a different denominator. You can work out any one like that, essentially. And just to give you an example of something much more complicated, but without me drawing the example, if I had something along the lines of 6/15, and over here I'm going to add to that 3/10. I'm going to have to do something a little bit more complicated now, because I can't just double add one or the other. So in both cases, what I'm going to do is this one here, I'm going to times by 2, and this one I'm going to times by 3. And by doing that, this will become 30 and this will become 30. That's why I've chosen these numbers 2 and 3. And it doesn't matter what I times either of them by, so long as I also multiply the numerator, because all I'm doing is making more cuts, and by making more cuts, I'm making more pieces. It doesn't matter if I cut it into like 1 billion bits. As long as I count those billion bits at the end, I'm going to be fine. So in this case here, 2 times 6 is going to give me 12/30, and here 3 times 3 is going to give me 9/30. And again, now I have something I can work with. I can add 9 and 12 together. So 12 plus 9 equals, yes, correct, 21/30. I could simplify that, but that's a different video. That's all from me.